In the morning on the outskirts of Tay Ninh City, the gentle sunlight penetrates the foliage, carrying the chirping of birds everywhere. The small road leading to the residential area becomes strangely quiet as the villagers are waiting for Mr. Tam's tree-cutting team to appear. Today, the team will cut down a giant ancient banyan tree right next to the road. The banyan tree is old, its branches and leaves grow luxuriantly, and its canopy spreads out to the roofs of some households. The villagers are worried that when the storm season comes, the tree may be uprooted, endangering everyone. The sound of Mr. Tam's crane truck rumbles from afar, breaking the silence of the village. The convoy includes a large crane truck and a truck carrying equipment, chainsaws, ropes, and towing cables. On the truck, Mr. Tam stands straight, his sharp eyes looking around like a commander about to go into battle. Behind him was a team of employees who had worked with him for many years, each with great experience and skills in sawing trees. The team included Duc, Bin, Quan, and Tone, each with a task, but all of them coordinated smoothly like a perfectly functioning machine. When arriving, Tam jumped out of the car, waved to a few familiar faces, and then began to direct the work. He looked at the banyan tree in front of him. Its trunk was huge and straight with branches as big as giant arms reaching out everywhere. This tree is no pushover, guys. You have to work carefully, remember to pay attention to safety. He said as he pointed to the nearest roof, where a large branch was waiting to fall. Duc, the one with the most experience sawing, quickly prepared his tools. His giant saw started up, the roar of the engine breaking the quiet of the morning. He checked the saw blade again before moving to the designated location. Today, we have to be very focused, this tree is too big and close to the house, Duc said with a serious expression, but then added a joke, but don't worry, after sawing this branch, we can have a barbecue party from the banyan tree wood tonight. The whole team burst into laughter, and the tense atmosphere was somewhat relieved. Tam signaled the crane to prepare the crane arm, so that when the team finished sawing the truck would pull the branch down to the ground safely. Tree cutting not only requires strength but also meticulousness and precision. Just one small mistake, the tree can fall in the wrong direction, causing unwanted accidents. Bin, the team's tree climber, quickly put on his safety belt, checked the rope and started climbing the tree trunk. With his skillful climbing skills, Bin nimbly passed through the dense branches, climbing to an impressive height. When he arrived, he tied a rope tightly around a large branch, preparing for the main cut. "I've tied it tight, everyone on the ground, get ready," Mr. Bin shouted down. Down below, Mr. Quan and Mr. Tone were ready. They prepared the cable from the crane to hold the tree trunk when it left the main branch. Mr. Duke's chainsaw roared, each saw blade pierced deep into the tree trunk, creating a cloud of wood shavings flying in the air. The whole team watched attentively, keeping their breathing steady, ready for the decisive moment. Cut it. Get ready to pull it down. Mr. Duck shouted loudly. The crane slowly raised the crane arm, gently pulling the large branch that had just been cut. From above, Mr. Bin observed and checked the direction of the branch's fall. The whole team coordinated smoothly, each movement was sure, not hasty but effective. The heavy branch slowly lowered to the ground safely, without causing any damage to the surrounding houses. Mr. Tone breathed a sigh of relief, then said jokingly, "Tonight, I must invite the whole village here for a real barbecue party. This branch has enough wood to grill for the whole week, right?" The whole team burst into laughter again. The laughter and chatter filled the entire work area, no longer the tension of the past few moments. After the first large branch was cut and lowered, the whole team continued working on the remaining branches. The tree sawing work lasted all morning, with each large and small branch being lowered safely. Each time a branch was lowered, the whole team cheered and encouraged each other. Mr. Tam, standing on the ground, directed, constantly reminding everyone to stay absolutely safe, but also did not forget to add jokes to keep the working atmosphere comfortable. At noon, when the sun's rays were more intense, the whole team took a break under the shade of a nearby tree to have lunch. The meal was simple with bread, fruit and cool water. Everyone ate and talked happily. Quan recalled the memory of the last time the team encountered a tree larger than today's banyan tree, but because of the wrong angle of sawing, the entire branch almost fell onto the road. Luckily the crane was fast that day, otherwise we wouldn't be sitting here today. Quan recounted, making the whole team laugh and shake their heads remembering that dangerous moment. Mr. Tam also shared, "This job requires not only strength but also calculation and skill. Otherwise, it is very dangerous. Especially when sawing large trees like this, one mistake can lead to a mile off course. But anyway, let's eat first and continue. This afternoon, we will probably finish." After the lunch break, the whole team returned to work with the determination to complete the remaining part of the ancient banyan tree. The main trunk of the tree was the biggest challenge of the day, because this was the heaviest and thickest part. Mr. Duck picked up the chainsaw again, this time the sawing sound was stronger than ever. Each of his cuts was precise and decisive. Meanwhile, the crane was also in position, ready to pull this heavy tree trunk. "Get ready, guys!" Mr. Tam shouted loudly. At this moment, everyone was tense and focused, the atmosphere was completely silent. The whole team knew that this was the decisive moment. The sawing sound rang out one last time, and then... "Pull! Pull!" Duck shouted loudly. The crane slowly pulled the tree trunk, lifting it off the ground. The whole team held their breath to watch the tree being lowered. Finally, the giant banyan tree trunk was lowered safely to the ground. Cheers rang out. The whole team was happy to have completed this difficult job without any problems. Tam laughed loudly, patting each team member on the shoulder. "Good job, everyone. We did a great job today." When the job was done, the whole team cleaned up their tools, cables and cleaned up the work area. On the way back, they kept telling funny stories about today's work, mixed with hearty laughter. In the afternoon, when the sunlight faded, the whole village became more peaceful. The ancient banyan tree lay still on the ground, leaving a large space in the sky. The sound of the crane and chainsaw